How is it already halfway through January? Like, wasn't New Year's just like yesterday? What's going on? Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Victoria. I like to read, and this is my mid month check in. If you are new, please subscribe down below and give me a like so you let YouTube know that you like my videos. But let's talk about the four books that I've already read this month, and let's get started. So, the first book that I read was The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This follows these two boys that went missing in West Virginia's Appalachian Mountains, and they were gone for 6 months. And they came back miraculously one day. No one knows where they were, no one knows how they were found, all of that jazz. Then we jump about, I think, 15 years into the future, and we follow a girl who is about 11 or 12, and she goes to one of the boys who his job is now finding missing people, and says, hey, when right around the time that you went missing, I had an older sister that went missing, and I just found out about it because I was given up for adoption and didn't know about her until recently. So can you help me find her? And so it follows the three of them going into the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia and trying to find her sister. This had some magical elements that were absolutely amazing. The magical realism that, like, the system that was here, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it. It was so good. This is the first magical realism book that I have read set in West Virginia, and I absolutely adored it. I think the part that made it the most special was the fact that I had to drive through West Virginia on our way to spend time in Michigan with my boyfriend's family for Christmas. So I was able to see the landscape that they were talking about. Granted, I was on just the highways, but being able to see the terrain and things from the road, it was just also incredible. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I absolutely adored it. I also love Meg Schaefer's book, The Wishing Game. That one was kind of like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory type book, like competition. I highly recommend both. I can't wait if Meg Schaefer's gonna be publishing another book. I am definitely going to be an anticipated reader of those. The next book that I read was for my in person book club, which was Green Glass House by Kate Milford. This is a middle grade novel following Milo, who was adopted by his parents, who own like a bed and breakfast type house that is like in on the top of like a secluded hill next to like the watery coast. So it's like a really secluded, really far away. So their main patrons are smugglers. And so they have a very we don't judge policy. Like, we listen and we don't judge. So we follow Milo and a girl named Meddy, who is the daughter of the cook who works at the house. They are there at the house because it's set at the beginning of winter break, and they were not expecting anybody to be showing up at the house for another 2 weeks, and yet five people all miraculously show up at the same day wanting to stay at the house. And when things start going missing, Milo and Meddy set out on playing like this D&D type game where they pretend to be different people so that they can have the confidence to try and figure out what is going on and who is stealing all the stuff. So I gave it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else in my book club did. I think it was because there was too many plot points that just confused me. There was a lot of characters that we were following, and of course the kids were trying to figure out why everybody was there. So you're trying to figure out how everybody's connected and things like that. So I enjoyed it for what it was, and there was a really big twist in here that I was not expecting going in, but I did guess about halfway through. So that was a little disappointing that I was able to guess it, but I also just had kind of inklings, but that meant that the foreshadowing in it was also pretty great. I also can't fault it as much because it is meant for younger audiences, so I might just be thinking about it a little too hard, but I still really enjoyed it. The next book that I read was Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Shannon McGuire. This is the 10th book in the Wayward Children series. This is one of my favorite series of all time. I have no idea if she's going to be making any more. I had assumed that this was the last one because she had said at one point that that was all that she was contracted for. But then on a post on Goodreads, they were referring to a blog post where she was saying that there was gonna be more in this series. So I am definitely I need to know the moment a name drops that there's another book. I need to know. I need to know like immediately because this series is my absolute favorite. But in this one, we follow Nadia, who we met in like book 2 or 3, but she is a drowned girl who. Her world is when, which is what we are exploring in this book, is kind of like a turtle pond type world, where there are giant turtles and they talk to you and they essentially help the humans in this world. But Nadia was born in Russia and she was born without a right arm, so she was like from below the elbow. She had no right arm below the elbow. um and her mother gave her up for adoption, and she ends up getting adopted by this couple in Denver that try and fix her and make her whole, even though for her, because she was born that way, she doesn't see herself as less or lacking or anything of the sort, because that's just the way that she lives life. Like, she's not missing anything. She can do just fine by herself. So it makes her feel like she's not wanted the way that she is because they're trying to fix her, which is why she ends up going to her door. I ended up giving this one 5 stars, as all the other ones that I have given 5 stars. As I said, this is my favorite series. And the last book that I read so far this month was Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This follows a girl named Nyx who was essentially born to marry a demon lord to fulfill a bargain that her father made before she was born. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that also has like a Greek gods element to it, which I was not expecting. I don't like knowing much about my books before going into them because I feel like it can take away from it and also give me expectations that I might not want to have going into them. But literally on the front, it says her mission was to kill him, her destiny was to love him. I really enjoyed how this story got wrapped up. I was talking about it with my best friend, and she had read it when it actually came out like a decade ago. And she said that she didn't like the way that it was wrapped up because she didn't feel like it had enough in it, but I thought it was done really well. I'm excited for the other one that she had put out, which was for Little Red Riding Hood. I don't think they're connected at all, but I'm still super super excited for it. I loved the themes that were in here about like loving a person for who they are, no matter their flaws, no matter their darkest thoughts and feelings and all the things, because you think that somebody loves you for who you are and then they show you that they don't, is as heartbreaking as it can be. So I I loved this book. It was so good. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up down below and comment if you have read any of these books because I would love to talk about them. There are just some amazing books that I have read in the first couple weeks of the year. Please let me know your favorite from last year, and if you're still here, give me a confetti emoji. But thanks for watching. Bye.